Hi guys, today I am gonna talk about a pretty complex, taboo and intimate topic: virginity. Yay! Let's talk about this amazing thing. I get this question very frequently. Amy, excuse me, but are you a virgin? Amy, excuse me, maybe it's too much, but are you a virgin? I would understand if you don't answer. Are you a virgin by any chance? I'm gonna be really clear. That's not something I wish to answer. Not because it's yes, not because it's no, but just because I don't really see how it could really benefit anyone else, or how it could be of any interest in the relationship that we have, or how it could relate to any of the discussion that we have. Yes, I am asexual. Yes, I have been single for a long time. Is it because if I'm a virgin, it means I haven't had sex, therefore I cannot really know if I don't like sex because I haven't had sex? Or is it because if no, I'm not a virgin, I'm a liar, I'm a fraud, or I had a bad experience and therefore I should try again in order to enjoy sex? Virginity is such a complex topic because I think there are so many different approaches you could take to analyze this very simple concept, and all of them are quite valid. I guess I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. When I was younger, I was obsessed with staying a virgin forever. That's the weird thing because my parents were not strict. My parents were just really normal parents that would reply to questions, that wouldn't be like there's anything taboo, or like sex is bad, or dating is bad at all, and they would not either force us to do that or just have discussions when we didn't want to have them. Then I went to Catholic middle school and high school, and I feel like whenever I tell people that I've been in touch or in contact with religion, people kind of associate me being asexual, me at that time being obsessed with virginity, with my relationship with religion, which I think is completely inaccurate, because I was maybe lucky, but when I went to middle school and high school, the way they taught us about religion was not like the one you could maybe see in the US, for example. It wasn't like that at all. It was just about being nice, being polite, being generous, compassionate, learning about the life of Jesus and stuff like that. It wasn't about what you should do, what you shouldn't do, what you should wear, what you shouldn't wear. It wasn't anything that would, put those ideas in my head. No, I was just really, from a very early and young age, convinced that somehow virginity was something beautiful, that there was something beautiful in being, just you in your body and not letting anyone, not letting anyone enter your body. Obviously, it was influenced by a few things, because everything we think is influenced by things, but that's how I perceive it at that time. And to be honest, it's still a little bit how I perceive it to be. I may be very old-fashioned, but for me, in my personal life at least, I don't really understand one night stand, sleeping with many people. I think there's something precious in sharing your body with someone, or at least it's so intimate, and for me there's a lot of different things linked to that. There's a lot of power, hierarchy, feminism, intimacy, trust issues. All of those are linked with sexual intercourse. The way I see sexual relationships as an asexual that doesn't even want to have sexual relationship, but I see it as something that should happen when there's feelings. That's for me. And I don't think that people having sex with whoever are bad people, or I don't think it's a bad attitude. I just think that's not how I want to live my life. I think nowadays it's really hard to express your personal opinion or how you wish to live your life without sounding like you're blaming or condemning others, because we live in an era where we should allow everything or say amen to everything. But there's a difference between me blaming those people, and there's a difference between me just saying if they want to do it, it's fine, it's their own life, their own business, as long as everyone gives consent to that. And saying for me, however, that's not happening. Therefore, when I see that virginity is only a social construct, maybe not so much. Okay, so yes, virginity is a social construct, and yes, there are many flawed and very harmful things linked to the concept of virginity, especially for women. there's a sense of purity, there's a sense of value. But at the same time, honestly, I'm pretty sure there are so many women in this world that feel that way, you know, that feel like there was a difference between when they were a virgin and when they were not a virgin anymore because they had sex for the first time. And for so many people, the first time they have sex is still a very important time in their life. It's still something that's quite crucial and that they will remember. And it is okay, it is fine to say that it is not the case for anyone. What I think is not okay is to ignore or forget a bit too quickly that for some people it still remains the case. For some people this is still something important, and for some people virginity is still something that they feel deeply about. You know, when we say gender is a social construct, I'm like, hell yeah, that's so true. But when we say virginity is a social construct, I'm like, is it really that true? Because virginity is really something, you know. I think once you experience sex, it's different. For example, let's say you've never traveled, you know. Well, after your first travel, life is different. Life is different, you know. It does not mean that you will never feel like it's your first travel again when you travel to somewhere else. Or it does not mean that you have changed as a person forever. But life is different. And for a moment, how brief, no matter how brief or how long, your perception of yourself and the world was different. I think for sex, it's very, very much the same. I think we need to have a healthy discussion about virginity. I think we need to have a discussion that accepts everyone, that accepts the people that value virginity, not because of sexism, you know, not because they think women should stay pure till a certain age, or because there's more value to having sex with someone who is a virgin. I mean, it could happen to guys too, but it's still not as frequent as for girls. But for people that think, I want to save my first time for someone important, and I want to enjoy this time when I've been the only one to know my body. And I think we should also respect the feelings and the emotions and the experiences of people who've had sex and felt like, yes, they've lost something, like, yes, it has changed something for them a lot. And I think we should also learn and accept and just listen casually, you know, normally, politely, benevolently to the people who say, for me, it really doesn't mean anything. And yes, it is also a social construct in the sense that you could be, or you could feel as if you have never had sex, even though you have not traveled for a very long time, or when you're about to travel to a very foreign place, very exciting, very wow, you know, you feel like you've never been on a plane or on a train, you feel like you've never traveled at all. I think in that sense, I may be wrong, but I feel like in that sense, you could still be a virgin even if you've had sex before. With that concept, with that idea, it's all about how we feel about it, you know, it's all about how we perceive it, how we understand it, how we experience it. And that's why I think we should be really careful with claiming things like that's a social construct, or like virginity means you've never had sex before, because it's such an intimate topic, such a personal topic, and and it's something that for some people can be so touchy and painful depending on how you've lived your sexual experiences or whatever. I feel like very often we tend to react against something, and while reacting against something, we put something else as this low, this general truth. I place myself in that discussion on a spot, basically, where I'm just like, okay, that's a very difficult and a very complex issue. I realize and I understand that there is a lot of sexism involved in that. There's a lot of patriarchy ideology linked to it as well. But there is also valid feelings, valid emotions, valid experiences and positions that women feel. I want them to feel like they can talk about it without being judged as too old-fashioned, too religious, too conservative, or like they have internalized some kind of misogyny, because that's not what it's about. I hope this was interesting, guys. Please let me know what you think of it. Honestly, it's just an interesting topic. I would really love to hear your thoughts on that. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.